Hey guys, what's up? It's Timothy here. I'm making this video because we've got some Amonkhet spoilers coming out today. Some exciting stuff. There was an article on the Magic website about it. I didn't read it because I didn't want to spoil any of the cards for me when I was making this video. So just to give you an idea, it's midnight. Monday, Tuesday, midnight. So I haven't seen any of the cards yet. I've seen little snippets. I've seen some of the reprints, but I haven't actually gone through and read any of the cards. So this is going to be all new to me. So as always, I'll usually read something wrong and assume it does something that it doesn't. But reprints I should be pretty good with. Anyway, we're going to go through all of these cards. And keep in mind that includes the Planeswalkers from the Planeswalker decks. And then tomorrow I'll read up on the articles that they posted and see what kind of information we've got here. Normally, these type of videos or these type of early spoilers or leaks or whatever you want to call them showcase the mechanics from the set. So let's see what we've got here. I know one is returning that I'm pretty happy about, but we're gonna jump right in. Starting from the top, I'm using Mythic Spoiler here. And I did see this. I didn't read anything here. So obviously Gravedigger is a card that we're quite familiar with. It shows up in core sets a lot. This card goes way back, actually. Gravedigger is like a super old card that's just been reprinted over and over. It's just a very efficient, like, limited card, right? You get to raise dead a creature while also adding to the board. Pretty decent. You'll notice it's uncommon here. I think Gravedigger's usually been a common. I might be wrong about that. I don't even remember the last time I saw Gravedigger in a set, but I know it shows up in core sets a lot, and it's just a solid limited card. I do want to point out again that, like I do for most of these videos, that I'm looking at this from a limited perspective. If something really stands out as standard playable or seems like something that can shake up standard or fit into certain strategies we already have, then, you know, it's worth mentioning. But I'm looking at this from a limited perspective, and Gravedigger is always just a fine limited card. A clunky one, but a fine one. And I imagine we'll see a lot of zombies since we're on a Egyptian-themed plane, right? Moving on, we have Angler Drake, which is an uncommon. Looks like a 4/4 for 4 and double blue. So we got a 6 mana 4/4 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, you may return target creature to its owner's hand. Oh, okay, so it's just giant mana war, right? What is this? Aether Snipe? Just without the evoke and with flying instead. This seems solid. I don't know how fast this format's going to be. If it turns out that the format is very quick, then this type of card just may not do it. But if the format's very mid-gamey and you can cast 6-drops without a lot of problem, then, you know, this is probably just a really good card, right? Mana War that flies is pretty good. There was a card in Fate Reforged, and remember, Fate Reforged was a pretty bomb-heavy set. Even something, I can't remember the name, but it was essentially a 5-mana 2/2 that bounced a creature. So paying 1 more and getting a 4/4 seems pretty good. This is exactly up my alley. I love big finisher type creatures that also have utility when they enter the battlefield. So pretty sweet. I don't know. I'm getting Yu-Gi-Oh vibes here. This is just like a crown wearing dragon. It's pretty cool though. I like the art on it. The art in this set is sweet from what I've seen so far. Spidery Grasp. Untapped target creature gets +2/+4 and gains reach until end of turn for 2 and a green instant speed. It's a common. Sure. This is actually a decent combat trick, I guess. It gives you enough toughness that you're probably going to win. I don't know if this is a reprint or not. I did open up a Gatherer tab just in case I want to be checking my facts. So Spidery Grasp, we're going to check that real quick. Yes, it's from Innistrad. I knew the name sounded familiar. I don't know how good it was in Innistrad. There was a lot of flying hate in that set, though. That and Avacyn Restored because of all the angels and so on and so forth. But Spidery Grasp is just a fine card. I don't know if this is like main deckable combat trick. It just still seems like a pretty clunky combat trick, but a pretty good one against flyers and a good sideboard card, like essentially equating to something like a Plummet against flying heavy decks. But we'll see what kind of flyers we have. Like we already have Drakes, so I don't know what else to expect. Hyena Pack is 2 and double red for a 3/4 vanilla hyena creature. Nice. Whatever. This is the type of card. It's super funny because this stat line 3/4 for 4 is you see it in like every single set. Think of Prakata Club Security in Kaladesh, but it's usually like super mediocre, and it's way better in other sets in some sets than it is in others. If you are in a type of set that favors early game aggression, this type of card is just like super filler. And if it's a set where you really want to be curving out and make it to the end game and really decide to match that way, then this card gets a lot better, but it's never like just a highlight of the set, right? This also, why is this double red? Like, this could have just been red in 3 and it would have been perfectly fine, right? We see this a lot more as a 4-3 than a 3-4, so it's kind of weird that this is a more toughness-oriented red creature, especially with the double red, but I don't know. It's filler, right? This is definitely just super filler, and not much else to say about that. Fling is a reprint. I was told there are a lot of reprints here. Fling is 1 in a red for an instant. You sack a creature in addition to casting it, and it deals damage to target creature. I believe target creature. Fling deals damage equal to the sacrifice creature's power to target creature or player. Yeah, so you can hit a creature or player. The idea here is you like buff something up, make it gigantic, and then you fling it at someone to either finish them off or use it as a removal spell. This is the type of card that when you look at like pros lists, they don't like it. And honestly, it's just not an amazing card. It's card disadvantage, which is true. There are times you'll want to play this if there's any sort of sacrifice theme to the set, if there's any sort of threaten effects, then this sort of card gets a lot better where you steal your opponent's creature and then you fling them. They don't get their creature back, but I don't know. Fling is just generally like an okay 5.0 type card because it is card disadvantage. You're losing this card in addition to whatever you're sacrificing, and you're usually only killing one creature. But if you have big creatures in your deck, this can be used to finish off your opponent. So keep in mind that it exists. It's just not like the most exciting card. It's not like a super strong common or anything like that, or at least I don't expect it to be. Dune Beetle, the old 1 and a black 1/4. Is Dune Beetle a reprint? Let's find out. Let's find out. Dune Beetle. Doesn't sound like it, but nope. All right. Oh yes, more insects for insect travel, right? No, just kidding. 1 and a black for a 1/4 is playable. I really hate cards like this because they exist for a reason. They exist in decks that want to go long and end the game really, really late. And they're very good against aggressive decks, but they just don't really do anything to further the plan. So think your like Consulate Skygate from Kaladesh or something like that. Cards that I just hate playing, but sometimes they're a necessary evil in those decks to slow down the aggressive decks. And a 1/4 will do a pretty good job even for 2 mana, so I don't know. It can trade off for X1s, but we'll have to see how many X1s. That is something to always note when you're looking through a new set, is how many X1s are there and how many cards are there that punish X1s. It's just a thing that comes up pretty often. Cursed Minotaur. Ooh, new Minotaurs. Minotaurs are good. 2 and a black for a 3/2 common zombie Minotaur. Cool type line with Menace. So essentially 3 mana, 3/2 Menace. Oh my god, it's Ancient Crab. Alright, anyway. Oh my god, I gotta get that off the screen real quick. Oh, I'm freaking out. Anyway, the Minotaur here. So another zombie, probably going to see a lot of those. 3/2 Menace for 3 seems like a decent card. It's a little bit better than like a lower power, higher toughness Menace creature like Alley Strangler from Ether Revolt. But we've seen this type of card before. I believe in Magic Origins there was some sort of Bogart creature, which was a red version of this. The exact same card, just red instead of black. And I remember that being a pretty decent card. The type of card that like if you wanted to play aggressively is the type of card you'd be happy having. It was actually one of the stronger red cards in that set too, for commons, if I remember. So I don't know, this strikes me as a pretty decent black common. It's not like exciting, right? It's still borderline filler material, but Menace is a good ability if you want to be attacking often. So I don't know. You could do worse than a 3 mana 3/2 anyway. So anyway, Ancient Crab. Good old Ancient Crab. Last seen in what was it, Battle for Zendikar? Maybe it was Oath of the Gatewatch. I don't know. I hate Ancient Crab. I hate cards like this. What? Like, look at this. Black gets 2 mana 1/4. Blue has this restrictive double blue cost for a 1/5. And obviously, like, that's what blue wants to do. You want to play those big flyers and win the game with those. So sometimes you play Ancient Crab, but it's such a weak card. You could do better. I don't know. My advice about cards like this is, yes, you can play them and they'll slow down the game, but just draft better cards and, you know, win with those. But I don't know. Ancient Crab is here, and they gave it new art. That's funny. All right, whatever. Okay. Mighty Leap back for the 100 billionth time. Instant speed, 1 and a white. Target creature gets +2/+2 and gains flying until end of turn. This is an okay combat trick. It's used more to just jump a creature and try to get them in for the win. It works a lot better when you have an incentive for being able to deal damage. The last times I remember seeing this, it was in... I want to say it was in Oath of the Gatewatch, but it wasn't like particularly good in Oath of the Gatewatch. I'm thinking Magic Origins, where you wanted your renowned creatures to hit. That's where you really wanted to play Mighty Leap so that you could guarantee jumping over all of your opponent's ground creatures. But it's not a strong card. It is the type of combat trick that will sometimes just win you the game if you put it on a big enough creature. It's also really sweet art. Like I like this art. I'm not a big fan of like the elephant art that Mighty Leap has, or the leaping core soldier that we got from Battle for Zendikar. But I don't know. It's just the type of reprint that comes up every now and then. It is interesting. I feel the presence of the god Pharaoh in the second sun, and I rise upon its rays. Maybe I should be reading the flavor text here for some hints as to what we're going to get in this set. Giant spider back again. just brick walling flyers for days. 4 mana 2/4 with reach at common. You see this card come up a lot. It was actually in Battle for Zendikar, I believe, except it was Giant Mantis instead of Giant Spider. And it's the type of card like you're never like, oh my god, I got one. But it does just brick wall, and it gives green a way to kind of deal with those early game flyers if there happen to be a lot of aggressive flyers in the format. So Giant Spider is just a solid all-around decent card, but nothing else to say about it. Sixth Sense, I believe this is new. Green for an uncommon aura enchant creature. The enchanted creature has whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. Let's see if that's a reprint, actually. I'm not sure. I've never heard of the card before. Blade of the Sixth Pride. That's definitely what I typed in. All right, so I assume this is a new card here. So for 1 green, whenever the creature deals damage, draw a card. This seems neat. It's an uncommon, which tells you something about it. But think about it this way. You don't just stick this on it and then send a creature willy-nilly into combat and hope it gets in there. You know you're going to be able to get in with the creature, and that's when you play it. Your opponent just doesn't have any blockers, no mana up. You have an evasive flyer or something like that, or just an unblockable creature. You put this on it, and the first time you hit, you replace this card. And you only paid 1 green mana for it in the first place. So if you can guarantee that first hit, the card replaces itself. And if you put it on a creature that has long-term value and you know it's going to be able to get in repetitively, this seems pretty decent. If you ever draw a second card off of it, it's just good, right? I don't know. It seems like you have to guarantee that you're going to be able to hit 2+ cards off of this before it becomes real good. Otherwise, it's just a slow cantrip and like a weird cantrip at that. But if you, I don't know. Actually, I'm second guessing now. Maybe it's not that good. You have to guarantee that you get in at least the first hit to be at parity, and then your opponent has to be able to untap and not kill your creature, and then you have to be able to untap with your creature still alive, and then make sure it gets in. Where I could see this being actually really, really good is if there are hexproof creatures in the set. I don't know, like Boggle type creatures. Then it gets much better. Or if there's some sort of like green-blue flyer deck or something like that. I don't know. But I have to think about this one. It seems decent if you can put it on a creature that you know is going to live over time. Otherwise, it actually seems a little bit tricky to get your values out of this. So we'll see how that plays out. I don't know. I'm going to not jump to conclusions. Impeccable Timing is 1 and a white for 3 damage to a target attacking or blocking creature at instant speed. We literally just saw this in Kaladesh. I believe Kaladesh was the first time that card was printed, and a lot of people were down on Impeccable Timing. I kind of liked it. I didn't think it was amazing or anything like that. There were times where I had it in my hand and I was just looking at it and I couldn't use it because my opponent wasn't attacking, or they knew they could play around it or something along those lines, or 3 damage might not have been enough. Maybe it'll be better in this set than it was in Kaladesh. One of the problems with Kaladesh, or one of the problems with this card in Kaladesh, is that all of the other combat tricks were just very good and very efficient. There are a lot of like 1 and 2 mana instant speed spells that blanked Impeccable Time, and things like Build to Smash or Blossom in Defense and stuff like that. So it was really hard to actually kill something if your opponent actually had mana open, they could save their creature pretty often, and then you're taking more damage. So it's not a reliable removal spell. It's just something that it works like 75% of the time, but it doesn't work often enough that you always want this card, that it's like super good or anything like that. This is a new set for it though, so we'll see how it plays out. It could just be much better here than it is in Kaladesh, depending on like what the combat tricks look like, how small the creatures are. But something to just keep in mind is just because it wasn't at its peak in Kaladesh doesn't mean that it won't be good here. We'll find out after playing with it. We have what looks like the game day promo here. True Heart Duelist is 1 and a white for a 2/2 uncommon human warrior. True Heart Duelist can block an additional creature each combat, and it has Embalm for 2 and a white. I don't know what Embalm is yet. I wonder if one of these other cards is going to mention it or not. But a 2/2 that can block an additional creature? Okay. I'll have to read up on what Embalm is, unless it's going to tell us on one of these other things. And I'll get back to you guys when we have more spoilers. Until then, I don't really know what this card does. A 2/2 that can block an additional creature is just weird, right? But it's uncommon for a reason. Embalm probably has something to do with like that creature coming back to the battlefield from the graveyard or something like that. I have no idea, but I guess we'll see when I know more about it. Oracle's Vault is 4 mana. This looks like the release day promo. It should say at the bottom. I'm assuming this is just the release day promo. But Oracle's Vault is 4 mana for a rare artifact. You can pay 2 and tap it. Exile the top card of your library. Until the end of turn, you may play that card. Put a brick counter on Oracle's Vault. So 2 mana to play the top card of your library potentially, and then it gets a counter. I don't know, pretty expensive so far. 6 mana and whatever. Like, you still have to pay the mana for that card. It doesn't say without paying its mana cost. You can also tap it to exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card without paying its mana cost. Activate this ability only if there are 3 or more brick counters on Oracle's Vault. Interesting. So you invest 4 mana. Over the course of the next 3 turns, you pay 2 at a time, potentially hitting cards off the top of your deck. And then this turns into exile the top card of your library and cast it. Or play it. You can play lands off this too, which is actually pretty interesting now you think about it. They don't usually do that, but I don't know. It seems I don't see this making an impact in standard. It just seems way too slow, right? You're paying 6 mana and then 2 more next turn, 2 more the turn after that, and then if you want to play the cards that you hit off of them, you'll still have to pay mana for it. I don't know. The initial 4 there is kind of scaring me off here. I don't even know if this would be good in limited or not. You'd have to be a really slow deck that wants to accrue value this sort of way. I don't know. It is an extra source of card advantage, but it has a fee to do that. Once you get to the 3 brick counters, like this card's clearly insane. So I don't know. This has Commander written all over it for me. So I don't know. I'm curious what you guys think of that one. I'm gonna hold my speculation on it for now. Looks like we got 2 more here. Archfiend of Ifnir is 3 and double black for looks like a rare 5/4 demon with flying. Whenever you cycle or discard another card, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature your opponents control. Cycling for 2. So I knew Cycling was back. Somebody had already mentioned this. Cycling is fantastic. It's just a nice way to make sure games are flowing along. Right? Sometimes you just brick on your lands and you have the option to get rid of some of your more expensive cards to cycle. It's a way to make sure that you're hitting the cards you need so the game can progress for both players. But it also looks like -1/-1 counters are back, which is interesting. Does not combo with Winding Constrictor, by the way. -1/-1 counters, bad combo with Winding Constrictor. But I wasn't expecting -1 counters. I know when the Liliana for the Planeswalker deck was revealed, or at least the art, somebody had mentioned that the plus ability on it gives a -1/-1 counter, and a lot of people ruled that out because there was no mention of Amonkhet having -1 counters, but here it is. What is this card from? Oh, this is the Buy a Box promo. Archfiend of Ifnir is the Buy a Box promo. Overall, in Limited, This is a bomb, right? You're paying 5 mana for a 5/4 flyer, which is already fantastic. You could cycle it to put a -1/-1 counter on an opponent's creature, or anytime you cycle anything else or discard any other card, you get a -1/-1 counter on each creature. Holy crap, I actually just reread that. On each creature your opponent controls. Yeah, this has to be just a bomb, right? Each creature, geez. It depends, of course, on how much cycling there is in this set. But that part about also being able to discard another card, like, we still have Madness. Keep in mind, like, your Fiery Temper type decks are still going to be around. Alms the Bane, I don't know. The black-red kind of Madness decks, like, maybe this could breathe some life into it. This is actually, this seems like a very strong card, but limited, this is just a bomb. It has to be. This is just a bomb. The fly-in does it, if nothing else. And then, I don't know, if you're ever able to discard anything, your opponent's creatures just get nuked permanently. It's pretty crazy. And then we also have, this is the top 8, looks like the top 8 rare, or the top 8 game day promo. Glorybringer is 3 and double red for a 4/4 flying and haste dragon. It's a rare. You may exert. Let's click this one. You may exert Glorybringer as it attacks. When you do, it deals 4 damage to target non-dragon creature an opponent controls. What does exert mean? Is it just something you get to do when it attacks? That's super curious. So the way this reads, I don't know what exert is. I don't know. I need reminder text or something here. The way it reads is when this thing attacks, you just get to shoot something for 4. Exert must mean something else. Otherwise, you wouldn't need a keyword for that. You would just say when this creature attacks, deal 4 damage to target non-dragon creature an opponent controls, instead of when you exert it, or you may exert it. I don't know. Maybe exerting comes with, like, sacrificing it at the end of combat or something like that. Like, when this creature attacks, you can deal 4 to target creature. If you do, sacrifice it at the end of combat or something. I don't know. That would make sense with the haste, right? It's just you shoot an opponent for 4, and you also shoot one of their creatures for 4 for 5 mana. That would be good. But that's speculation until I know what these keywords done. Maybe I should have looked that up ahead of time, because now I'm scratching my head about this. But the art's not great there. I mean, the art's great, but I can't see it very well. But yeah, this seems strong. At the very least, it's a 4/4 haste for 4 for 5 mana with flying, which is pretty good as is. So I don't know. I'll have to get back to you guys on, like, the whole exert thing. But overall, we've got something called Embalm. We've got cycling. We've got -1/-1 counters. We have exertion, and then a bunch of reprints. So, and lots of dirtily stuff. So we're going to see something pretty exciting here. And the next video, I'll have more information about the mechanics. I did also want to mention a couple other cards here. First off, this ugly atrocity of a card that you've probably seen by now by the time this video goes up. I believe it's called Dusk and Dawn. It's a split card, but instead of being split left and right, or up and down, it's split like this. Like, this is a real card. This isn't fake. It's a really cool card. It just looks, I don't know, it looks like this. Like, what is this? But anyway, you're paying 2 and double white to destroy all creatures with power greater than or equal to 3. So a nice little white weenie type deck. If you have small creatures, this blows up all the large creatures on the board. And then it has something called Aftermath, or I'm not 100% sure. I'll probably know by the next video. It looks like it could be Consequence instead of Aftermath, but it says you can cast the second part of it, or the flipped part of it, from your graveyard for that mana cost, then you exile it, and you get a different effect. So in this case, you're casting the first part, which is Dusk, for 2 and double white, destroy all creatures with power 3 or greater, and then from your graveyard, you can cast Dawn, which is 3 and double white, and then it exiles itself, but then you return all of your creature cards with power less or equal to 2 from your graveyard to your hand. So nice little synergy between the cards. I'm curious to see what other kind of effects we get here. There is synergy between the top effect and the sideways effect. It's just, I don't know, this is such an atrocious card to look at. It's bad. It's almost like Meld bad. It is probably worse than Meld, right? This looks terrible. And all my friends keep saying, like, why couldn't they have done like a split card, like half and half? I don't know. This seems like it would have worked just fine as a split card. But I like the concept. I like the concept where it's like you're flashing it back, but you're getting a different effect off of it. So it's not that different from flashback, but I don't know. The design is kind of throwing people off on that one. But anyway, I haven't seen these yet either. I want to go and look at the Planeswalkers from the Planeswalker deck, and then we'll go and wrap up with that. And this is pretty shoddy, so we're going to click on it. Keep in mind these are legal in Standard, but they're not designed with Standard play really in mind. They're meant to be a little bit on the weaker side when it comes to Planeswalkers, but I don't know. We'll see what we have here. Gideon Marshall Paragon is 4 and a white for a Gideon, obviously. What loyalty does it start at? It can't quite tell what loyalty it starts at. But for +2, you can untap all creatures you control. And they get +1/+1 until end of turn. Whatever. 0 until end of turn. Gideon becomes a 5/5 human soldier with indestructible. That's still a Planeswalker. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to him this turn. Pretty typical Gideon card. Or Gideon ability. A lot of Gideons have that kind of ability on them. And then -10. Creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. Tap all creatures your opponents control. That's not bad. -10 is quite a bit. I have no idea what this starts at. Notice it doesn't have any minus abilities. It's either staying neutral or it's taken up, and +2 is quite a bit too, but I don't know. This is no way gonna see play with Ally of Zendikar still in Standard. Keep in mind, Ally of Zendikar and all of Battle for Zendikar will still be in Standard when Amonkhet comes out, so this Gideon is definitely Planeswalker deck material. Like, I'm not seeing anything special here. It's not even like unique, it's just a boring Gideon card, but that is not the Kaladesh. That is not the Amonkhet included Gideon. That's the one from the Planeswalker deck. So we'll have a different Gideon to look at some point. And here we have Liliana Death Wielder. 5 and double black. 7 mana. Jesus. For Liliana, we don't know the loyalty it starts at apparently. +2 to put a -1/-1 counter on up to 1 target creature. That is awful. 7 mana for a +2 to shrink a creature -1/-1. That's really bad. -3, destroy a creature with a -1/-1 counter on it. That's still bad, even if something already had a -1 counter. 7 mana, I don't know. -10, return all creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. What? This is so random. This is just like, I don't know. The -10 is very Liliana-esque, but it has no synergy with the other 2 abilities at all. Like, you're killing your opponent's creatures. The -3 is the best ability, and that's just worse than playing a kill spell, right? I don't know. -1/-1 counters does lead me to believe there will be less direct kill spells in the set. It's more like whittle your opponent's creatures down, like Wither, but I don't know. This Liliana seems really bad. Am I the only one who's thinking that? The -10 is obviously like a decent ability, but 7 mana for this is way too much. This isn't +2 for a single -1 counter on a target creature. That's so bad. And then -3 is just, ugh, this Liliana is terrible. The Gideon's better. I have no I don't know. I don't even know. Forget about it. Don't play it. It's bad. And then 2 more cards to look at. These, let me just double check. Yeah, these are included in the Planeswalker decks. They're legal in Standard, but not included in booster packs. So we have Tattered Mummy, which is 1 and a black for a 1/2 zombie jackal. Cool creature type, I guess. Jackal, is that Jackal Pup? When Tattered Mummy dies, each opponent loses 2 life. Okay, whatever. And then Graceful Cat, 2 and a white for a 2/2 cat at common. When Graceful Cat attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Yeah, these, like, if these, I'm not even going to really speculate on them because they're not going to be an Amonkhet booster pack, so there's not much to say about them. Outside of that, I think we've seen everything. Modern Masters. Yeah, that's what we've got to look forward to. So my job is to go ahead and brush up on the mechanics so I can report back to you guys on that next time, which hopefully we'll get more of these tomorrow. Your job is to tell me what you guys think of the cards that we've seen so far. Are we still expecting gods? Are we, I mean, what are we expecting overall? What do we think of Cyclone and -1/-1 counters in this set? What do these mechanics do? I don't know. Stay tuned for next time. So far, we've really only seen just a bunch of reprints, which is interesting, but instead of starting out with a huge splash, they're starting out with some of the weaker cards here, it looks like. So interesting that they did that. Anyway, that's going to be it for today. Enough babbling about beetles and ancient crabs and spiders and whatnot. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and brush up on these mechanics, and I'll report back to you as soon as we have more spoilers, hopefully tomorrow. My name is Timothy. As always, I will see y'all next time.